So today we're going to be talking about moving forward with digital communications. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past 10 years, you know, digital is huge. How huge is it? We've started a zombie apocalypse.
Zombies are back again.
Everywhere you look, people have their faces in their phones, right? We're a screen-orientated people these days. I see quite a few screens out here, from laptops, tablets, phones. Everywhere you go, you're gonna run into it. So you can't get away from it. So what exactly is digital communication? Anything sent from a digital device to another digital device. And the problem is, there's lots of digital devices out there. We've got cell phones, commonly referred to as smartphones, or now superphones they're being touted as. They're no longer smart, they're super, even though it's the same technology from 2 years ago, just fancier screen. We've got laptops, we've got desktops, and we've got TVs. So we've got a whole range of stuff that we can send out to, and a whole bunch of different ways that we can communicate with those devices. We've got text messages, we've got email, we've got social media, we've got websites, we've got instant chat, we've got podcasts, we've got RSS feeds, and that's just the beginning of the list. We've got a whole bunch of different options that we can use to communicate either with members, with the community, or with our staff. But the thing that we need to remember the most, mobile rules, and mobile is the future. Did that work? Yeah, excellent. Sorry, my thing's not responding as fast as the screen is, so it didn't actually say that it changed. So mobile is the way to go for pretty much everything. Now, when I say mobile, I'm talking mostly about smartphones. Even though tablets are huge, smartphones and superphones are still destroying tablets for sales. More people prefer the fact that it's handheld, fits in their pocket, fits in their purse. It's just the way to go, and it's completely outselling everything. How do I know? Well, we're in the middle of a major paradigm shift. The first paradigm shift that we had was the personal computer market. Who remembers the personal computer market? We've been using it for about 30 years now. When it started, you know, it was pretty slow, not too many adopters, but it grew, and it grew fairly quickly for that paradigm. But it peaked in about 2011. So personal computer market, nice incline, good steady growth. Well, smartphone came around, 2007. Who knows what happened in 2007? The iPhone, exactly. Steve released the iPhone and changed the way people thought about their mobile phones. All of a sudden, it did a whole lot more than just make phone calls and send text messages. So as the popularity of the iPhone grew, naturally, sales went up. As sales went up, other manufacturers started to notice and like, oh, we gotta start doing this too, right? Of course. So what happened? At the 2011 mark, when the computer market kind of peaked, smartphones started going up. Well, after that, it just went ballistic. We have far, far outgrown the personal computer market. More people have tablets and smartphones than have ever owned a computer. And if we look forward up into the 2015 projection, we're off the chart. I didn't have enough room to put it on the screen. It's sitting up here somewhere. So that tells us right there, we have to focus on mobile devices. People want to be contacted on there, they want to use that, and they will use it. Proof, everybody's got them. So where did this paradigm shift kind of come from? All right, well, part of the reason is the turnover on our devices is a whole lot higher than it used to be, right? Back in the days when we all had desktop computers, how often were we replacing them? About 4 or 5 years on average is how often people change over their laptops or desktops. Unless you're like me, huge geek, gotta have the latest and greatest stuff, so you're replacing them every year or so. So we're in a whole different category by ourselves, we're okay with that. When it comes to mobile, we're changing every 2 years. And that's even the people that don't like technology. They're still upgrading all the time. Now, some of that is because, you know, people like TELUS and Rogers and all these big conglomerates are be like, oh yeah, that old network or the new network, yeah, you can't use your old phone for that, you're gonna have to upgrade. So that's a part of it, but it's a huge shift because back in the computer market, how many laptops and desktops did you have for a family of 5? Maybe 1, maybe 2 if you were lucky, everyone kind of shared. But with mobile devices, everybody's got one. For a family of 5, you've pretty much guaranteed got 5 devices, if not 10 devices, 2 per person. You got the tablet, you got the smartphone, you got the laptops. There is glass everywhere. How much glass? Well, in 2012, we sold half a square foot of LCD screen for every human on Earth. That was in 2012. So we're 2014 now. I'm going to say we're probably up to at least a square foot. Judging some of my friends and their devices, I'm going to say like 3 square feet. You know, I know a lot of geeks, you know, big surround computers. Just the way it goes. So with all these new devices and everything, we have to really change the way we're thinking about how we deliver our content, even with, excuse me, even with traditional methods of communication that we've had. Websites, very traditional form of digital communication. Who in here does not have a website? Who here doesn't know how to use a website? Exactly. 15 years ago, I could ask that, and about half people in here would have had a website, and about half people would actually know how to use it, right? Well, pretty much everybody knows how to use websites these days. We're pretty good. You can get it out there. But we're stuck in a paradigm again. We're stuck in that desktop thinking. So looking at this website here, this is the Advantage Glencoe website. So this is for the kids. If kids are enrolled in different sports around here, they're automatically enrolled in Advantage Glencoe. And this website provides them with information, different exercises they can do, and different events that's happening over the years. So looking at this here, this is a standard desktop version of the website. So when you look at a standard desktop website, you usually have your branding in the top corner there. You usually have navigation on the other side. If your navigation isn't in the same parallel, usually it'll be in a sidebar. There's a couple different ways to lay it out, right? We've got our content areas. And we've got a sidebar area. So pretty standard for most websites. Now, you can kind of change this up a little bit. You can have 3 columns, 2 columns, 1 column. You can have a header, not have a header. But it's all pretty much the same kind of thing. And it's meant for viewing at your desk on a larger screen. What happens with all these mobile devices? Well, the experience goes right down the tubes. So on the right-hand side here, we've got the same desktop website being viewed on an iPhone. On the left-hand side, we've got the responsive version of the same website being viewed on a mobile phone. So if you don't know what responsive technology is, it's a website that allows, it's device agnostic. It doesn't matter what device you're viewing the website from, you're going to get the best experience possible. You view it on a desktop, you're going to get to see the website that we saw before. You see it on a mobile device, you're going to see what's on the left-hand side. So it shifts and changes based on what device you're looking at it. What kind of experience do you have with a desktop on a mobile? Let's take a look here. Well, we all know that if you double tap on your screen, it should zoom in. With this particular website though, we have a problem. That menu bar across the top is sticky. So as you scroll down the page, the menu bar stays there, so you always have the menu accessible. And you zoom in, it affects the menu bar. And you can see here in a couple times, it pretty much takes up the entire screen. So I can't see any content, all I'm seeing is that sticky nav bar. And for the rest of the content, can anybody read any of that? Even on your phone, you can't read it, let alone on a 20-inch screen. So we really have to think about how we're presenting the content. Switching to a responsive version, it's a lot easier to navigate. The text is big, it's huge. The same content is being presented, but in a much easier to consume way. I can read everything on there. Tap the menu button, and the menu slides out from the left-hand side. This is called off-canvas navigation, and you're gonna see a lot of off-canvas stuff, not only in apps, but in websites. Does anybody know Medium? It's a new blogging platform that allows pretty much anybody to just go up and submit articles and share articles, but they've completely eliminated navigation from their website and only have off-canvas navigation, even on their desktop version, which kind of threw a lot of people off, including myself. I'm incredibly highly technical, but I spent 10 minutes looking for the menu. And then I'm like, maybe I'm missing a page. So I clicked on the logo in hopes to go back to a main page and figure out what I was doing. And that's when the sidebar slid out and revealed the menu. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. I wish you had some kind of indication for that though. And that's part of the problem. The new paradigm shift of mobile has been changing so rapidly that we're still learning. So we have to kind of, learn as we go. This menu icon here, I actually recently changed all our responsive websites to include this. I went to a conference last month and I was shown results of some testing. Does anybody know what the hamburger menu is? The hamburger menu. If you look on your phone, that little 3-stack line that when you click it slides something out, that's known as the hamburger menu. Well, turns out nobody knows what the hell it is. Even advanced people don't know what this is. So people were converting their websites into responsive or mobile versions and using this, and they saw their rates decline of people going beyond that main page. So a couple of big web people got together and decided, let's do some testing. Turns out nobody knew what it was. So you can't convert people if they don't know what to do. And I don't understand it. Everybody here has an iPhone or something similar. It's in pretty much every app, yet we still don't know what it does. And we're afraid to click on things in fear of breaking it. But they saw conversion rates when you did just menu and made it look like a button were 80% higher than using just the hamburger menu by itself. And it was 20% higher than using the hamburger menu with the word menu beside it. So this is an example of we're still learning, we're still gonna make mistakes, but it's okay. We're living in a world that everything changed so rapidly and everybody's doing rapid development cycles that it's okay to make mistakes because people are so used to it happening with pretty much every app that they own that a little glitch to make it a little better along the way usually doesn't hurt anybody. So when it comes to websites, there's some things that we can remember. Responsive offers a way better experience for everybody. Not only for the people viewing, but for whoever's maintaining the websites as well. Because if you have a regular website and a mobile website, that's 2 sets of websites. That's 2 sets of content. That's 2 sets of everything that needs to be maintained. With responsive, it can be a little more difficult to set up initially, but down the road, it's a lot better because the content is always the same no matter who changes it. You change it, doesn't matter what device it's going to be on, people are going to get that content updated. So it works out really well for people when you go responsive over just a mobile version. If you're doing any kind of designing, start from mobile and work your way up. If it works on mobile and is easy to use on mobile, it will be easy to use on the desktop. Just remember that chart that we saw at the beginning. Whew. Way up here, people want mobile. People have mobiles. We need to make it easy for them to get their content on their mobile. How many people check their email on their phone more than they check it on their desktop? I rarely check email on my desktop anymore. I go home, I open up my computer, and it's like 150 new messages come in because I haven't checked it there in so long. It's like, great. So as I just mentioned, we're still learning mobile. So it's okay, expect to make mistakes, move on, keep going. As long as it doesn't explode, you should be okay. But if you can make a phone explode off of a website, I want to talk to you guys. That'd be some cool things to have in the check for sure. By far, still the biggest thing with websites, content. It doesn't matter what your website looks like if you don't have the content there. Excellent content has been proven to bring people back more and more and more. So if you're providing your members, your staff, and your community with excellent content, they're going to be coming back for more. The more they come back, the more chance you have of converting them to do something else. Sign up for this, sign up for that, buy this, buy that. So we always want to try and be bringing people back more often than not because then we're in their face, right? And that's how we make more money. And we all like making more money. So content is king, don't be a jester. I like being the jester, it's okay with that. So on our websites, there's a couple ways that we can get key messages across to people without causing any issues. Banners. Banners are quite common. Everybody knows them, everybody hates them. So when it comes to banners, if you've already got banners on your website, I don't recommend using banners to get across key messages. So for instance, we had a power outage a couple weeks ago to that fire pole, our pole being on fire, so we were out of power. If we already had banners on our website, if we just kind of threw in another banner that said we were closed due to a power outage, people probably aren't going to notice it because they're already used to ignoring those banners. But if you don't already have them up there and then all of a sudden, bam, they come up and there's a banner there, it's going to grab their attention fairly quickly. So it's an excellent way to do it, and you can place it all over the place. Top banner, side banner, right inside your content. There's a couple different options. If you don't want to get quite in people's faces with the big graphical banners, some people don't, that's fine. I find alerts to be very effective. We've done this for pretty much anything that we wanted to communicate to members, especially during the flood. There was a lot of new messages being posted on the front of our website like this. So it was a different color with a background. catches people's attention similar to a banner, but it's not as intrusive. So you don't see that big graphical banner, just a nice little message that pops up. And if you can see here in the top corner, there's a little X. Most alerts you can actually close down once you've read them. So, oh, I got the message, I can close it, it disappears, and then it sets a cookie to remember that, hey, this person already read that message, we don't need to show it to them again. So as long as we can get messages out to people in an effective way, that's the important thing. For really important messages that you just have to get into people's faces, the modal window. Now, this essentially is a pop-up. This is the pop-up that pops up inside the browser and blacks out the background. So you can still kind of see the content through the shaded background, but the message pops up and gets right in your face. So this can be extremely effective. Somebody comes to your website and before they can do anything, bam, you're presenting them with the message and they're like, whoa, okay, this must be important, it's right in my face. Problem with modal windows, people really overuse them. If you've been to any kind of heavy blogging site, I hate the way bloggers are doing this. Pretty much every time I go and read an article, within 5 seconds, somebody's popping up a modal window asking me to sign up for their newsletter. Really don't like that. Users really don't like that. It's proven that users don't like that, yet people are still doing it very, very often. So that's why I highly recommend if you're using modal windows, keep it to the very important messages only. Stuff that really needs to get out to members. Deadline for filing whatever for a tax return, you have to get this in. There's no ifs, ands, and buts, get this out. And then members really cannot say, well, I didn't get the message. Really? Did you read the message that popped up and blocked the entire screen? No. Okay, we delivered the message, you didn't read the message. And that's the biggest problem, is getting people to read stuff these days. Keep your content nice, short, easily digestible. We're lazy, we don't like reading anymore. As we saw from the zombies earlier, whole bunch of pictures, flipping through Instagram. Email, another long-standing form of digital communication. Anybody in here not have an email address? Yeah, my dad has an email address. He doesn't use it, but he has one. But he only stopped using it because he figured he could send me pictures through text message. Great. So now I don't get emails with pictures, I get text messages with pictures, so it's great. So email is quite effective because, well, everybody's got an email address. Everybody knows how to use email. Even the older members, most of them have email and for the most part know how to use it. So it's effective. But it's also being upended by mobile, and we're also not following best practices. So here's an example of an email that does not follow best practices. Can anybody guess why this doesn't follow best practices?
You have two separate advertisements that are blurry as well.
That's a little bit, but the bigger one is the fact that it's a giant image. Everybody likes sending out emails with all these images in it. It looks pretty, it looks better, it's going to convert the message. Well, it's really not. An image isn't going to make somebody purchase something, especially when you're getting it on your phone and you're reading your email on your phone all the time. You just want the content. So the big thing with images that most people don't seem to realize is that a virus can be an image. And lots of image viruses have been going around for years. And a lot of people also don't realize that most programs will actually block images by default. So when you get your email and you get this message, it's not going to show up like this in your inbox. It's going to show up like this. Like this. There we go. That's how that email showed up in my inbox. Wow. Not even a logo. I found out that I had 480 points and then there was a link. Well, think, if 80% of your list is getting emails like that because they've got images turned off by default, you're not getting your message across. And most marketing professionals will tell you, limit the amount of images that you include. If you go to somebody like MailChimp, who is one of the biggest email newsletter delivery companies in the world, you go to their how-tos and their documentation, and when they're talking about images, they say, limit your images, and they list the exact same reasons I just give you. People include images as viruses and try and infect people. And every once in a while, you get the overly aggressive spam filter that, because it knows an image could potentially be a virus, it blocks you and ends up in the spam. So adding more images can actually hurt your deliverability for email. So we want to keep it a little smaller. Makes it a little easier. So that's the images side of things. The other side of things is back to this whole mobile. Check an email on your phone. This is a wonderfully beautiful email that comes into my desktop. Hey, it looks great on my desktop computer. That's exactly what I see. But again, from here up, is one big giant image. That wasn't the big problem I had with this email. When I got it on my phone, this is how it looked. Wow. So it's just essentially cut off the whole right-hand side, not only on the image, but on the text as well. So the text isn't reflowing so I can read it because it's setting its width to that big giant header image that they included in there. Now, it wouldn't have been so bad if I had images turned off, because if that image didn't display, it would just disappear, and they have content at the bottom. So they've kind of planned for the fact that people might not have images turned on and include some content that you can read and still get a message even if images don't show up. The other big problem with this is a full screenshot. I took 4 different screenshots and stitched it together. What I actually saw when I opened up my email was this. That's the viewport on an iPhone 5. So I've got the larger screen and everything, and that's still all I see. So I had to scroll down at least 3 flicks to get to the actual content. That's too much work. Delete. My thumb gets enough of a workout these days. I don't want to have to scroll down to get to my content. People are always, we saw it, they're always on their phones, they're always on their screen, they're always consuming something. So if you make them take 5 seconds to get to the content, that's 5 seconds that they could be on Instagram checking out somebody's cat photos. Get people their information right quick. Unless, of course, your email is cat photos, then you're set. Just fill it up with cat photos, you're good to go.
You have a cat person here too, Kray. It's not just you.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm a crazy cat guy. I'm okay with that. But if you saw my cats, you'd be like, oh, they're so cute. I'm just going based on what everyone says about my cats. So when it comes to delivering content by email, we want to be straightforward and to the point with our emails. Keep it concise. That doesn't go for the content in the email, but it also goes for the subject lines, because your subject lines need to be short. It's recommended that you keep email subject lines to about 30 characters. So nice, small, to the point. Again, look on your phone and go through your email. How many subject lines do you only get the first portion of? Well, a lot of people try and lead up and get real big bang at the end. Well, if that bangs at the end and I'm reading it on a mobile device and all I'm getting is the beginning, I'm getting the lead up, but I'm not getting the punchline. So chances of opening that are a lot slimmer. So give people a nice, easy to read, easy to digest subject line that makes them want to open that email. Newsletter for the week of July 1st. Well, unless you know the content from this newsletter that comes out every week is just awesome, what are the chances you're going to open that email? If you don't know the content's awesome and you're not expecting something, that's just a delete, archive, whatever. Most of the people that get emails in their inboxes never open them because they're not intrigued to do so. So give somebody a good good subject line and good content. So when they open that, oh, what's that? Click on that. Oh, well, that's interesting. Next time you send an email, they're a lot more likely to open it because last time, 1, you wowed them enough to make them open your email, and 2, when they did open the email, you provided them with something that they wanted. Hey, that's my kind of content. I like it. Think mobile. Don't include giant headers. We just saw that in the previous graphic there. Big ass header, works great for a desktop device, but on mobile, I had to scroll 3 times to get down. So again, we wanted to design for mobile and work our way up. I really wish I had part of the presentation I was at last month at my conference, because he showed an amazing example of building, he was redoing this really big form for this company, and they wanted to completely mobilize it. Well, he tried to redesign the form from desktop down, and it wasn't working, and it wasn't a good experience. But as soon as he just scrapped it and started from scratch from the mobile version and went up, the result was awesome. It was one of the greatest forms I have ever seen. Forms are boring. So if you can make it interesting on a mobile phone and have people actually fill it out, they saw an increase in people, I think he said it was like a 28% increase in people completing this form overall once he redesigned it. It started at mobile, and because everything kind of scales based if it's responsive, once it got to the desktop version, it still looked beautiful. Not only that, it increased their conversions. So starting small and working big turns out to be a lot better. Again, reduce the amount of images that you're using in your emails. It is okay to send text-only emails. Now, that being said, we've got the new Castle law in effect as of yesterday. Woo! How many people have had fun with Castle? Okay, I've had no fun with it whatsoever. It's been a giant pain in the butt. So I'm sorry if any of you are dealing with it. So you'll have to include at least your name, address, phone number, and an unsubscribe link. So if it's text only, and then the unsubscribe stuff. So it's a lot more conversational tone. So depending on what the content you're trying to get out is. That's not mine. Yeah! Probably. Are you sending out spam? Or unrequested commercial electronic messages? All right, where was I on that now? Oh, so yes, the text-only emails. With a text-only email, it's a lot more conversational tone. So it really depends on the content that you're sending out, if you want to, wrap it in your company branding or not. And if you do, again, keep it simple. Logo, maybe some basic text, and get straight to the information. Or again, provide really nice titles that drive people to the website. It's always better when you do that because you're including a call to action. My computer's acting slow today. I'm sorry. Why would we want to include a call to action? Well, it's one thing to get messages out to people, but then they just get the message. Let's try and sell them something while we're at it. If they're already opening the email, let's see if we can get them to come up to the website and do something else. Perhaps that email wants them to sign up for something. Perhaps we want to sell them something. There's all sorts of different ways that we can get information out via email and get them to convert and move over. So think about that when you're sending out all your emails. Come on. So what kind of stuff do we send out via email? Emergency club notices, of course. Now, it's better to use email for emergency notices than websites because people are going to get it a lot quicker. More likely than not, right to their hand because they've got their phone in their hand so often that they're going to get that message. If you're only putting it on a website, well, then you have to wait for the visitor to go to the website to get that message. How often do you visit a website these days? Well, maybe from the phone you'll visit it more, but most people have the phone, they get a push notification when they get those messages. So as soon as that hits their inbox, bam, whew, okay, I got that message. And that's worked out really well for us, again, during the flood and during any kind of power failures that we've had due to power poles catching on fire. That was still my favorite this year. Power pole caught on fire, club's closed. What? All right. We can include current and upcoming events. Current and upcoming events. Why? People want to know what's going on. Around here, there is a lot going on. I do not know half the stuff that is going on in this club half the time because there is just so much to do. So it's good to be able to send out those kind of updates. And if your software allows for it, to be able to segment that information. So if you've got, like us, we've got 8 different sports. If you can segment that into different areas for people and then they can subscribe to what they want to get. I'm a huge, squash fan and badminton fan, but I hate curling and I hate skating. Well, why send content to them if they don't want it, if they have no interest in it? You're not going to get anything out of it. And all it's going to do to them is be like, another email. This doesn't pertain to me. Well, delete. So again, we get back to that. Nobody's reading your email if you're not getting the content that you want. So having these events and stuff like league updates and information and being able to segment that to the groups that want that information is huge. I'm very excited about the North Star integration that we're doing here. Very, very excited because they allow us all sorts of cool ways to segment our stuff. One of the examples that they gave us was that we can, if somebody perhaps purchased a bottle of wine from us because they're part of the wine club, then we can send out emails to the people for the past 6 months that have come to wine club and actually purchased wine, as opposed to the people that came to wine club just to drink wine. Well, these people actually buy wine. Let's send it to them because they're more likely to actually buy from us. So it's a lot more targeted and makes things a lot easier for us, helps increase revenue, and it makes it better for the end user because they get what they want. I get so much email where some of the content is relevant to me and the rest of it is not. I would much prefer the ability to pick and choose from that website what kind of content I get. But a lot of people still aren't doing that, which, again, that's part of this whole big mobile shift. You got to try and get your content into something this big. So limit what people are getting. It makes it a lot easier. And of course, we send out a lot of things like statements, invoices, and requests for info. I included requests for info on here because that is hugely important. We have so many devices these days. We're constantly changing our email addresses or our phone numbers because we got, hey, look, I got the new phone. Oh, I had to switch to TELUS. They wouldn't let me bring my phone number. I'm going to do. So we end up with stale information pretty quickly, especially in this age. So sending the request for information every couple of months, be like, hey, keep your information up to date. You know, is your email address still the same? We want to keep contacting you. Is a huge thing because then, one, we know we have the current information, and two, if we have the current information, we know that they're more likely to get the messages that we're sending out. I can't tell you how many people say, well, I'm not getting the emails that you send out. And go and check, well, that's not my email address. I haven't used that in like 2 years. You changed your email 2 years ago, and you're just telling us now that you're not getting the messages? We could have fixed this 2 years ago for you. So allowing members an easy way to update their information is huge. Again, can't wait for North Star because people will be able to log in and change all their information on there. And I'm going to see if I can set up some kind of timed notification pop up. Hey, please update your information. Kind of like Google. If you log into Google, like every 3 to 6 months or so, they'll stop you when you log in and be like, hey, is this information still valid for you? Yeah, that's valid. Keep going. So it's a good thing to do. And people like Google are doing it, obviously. It's a good way to get information. So. All right, moving on from email, we've got social media.
Very quickly, sorry. North Star safe they can do that for you.
For which part?
No, it's not a complaint. It's a thought. Did North Star tell you that you would have that functionality
For
to be able to have that pop up on their account?
No, that's something that I'm looking into. Because
Not a complaint.
I'll update you all if
They have not promised you.
yeah,
I'll update you all if you
I
contact
know
us.
they have like a there's a dashboard function or something like that. A guy had talked me through. I didn't know if that was that.
You can set it, but it sets for every time versus.
Every time there's, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't have North Star yet, so.
Yeah, we're in the process. We've got the tee times and the events in place. So, yes. Well, I'm currently stuck using CSG all day long. So yes, I'm very excited. I don't even have search capabilities. Like, hello, this is 2014. Yes, search is huge. So yeah. So social media has kind of changed the way we communicate with people. It's still a very new form of sharing information and communication, but it's enormous. We cannot deny the fact that social is here and it's here to stay. But we've got some limitations with social. Because it's so new, there's still some things we're not sure about. Especially here, we've got major privacy concerns because we're a private club. So we really have to watch what we're sending out, and I'm keeping the messages, or trying to keep messages as generic as possible and not singling out specific members, because I already know that some members don't want to be identified as being part of a private club because of how other people will perceive them. So, for instance, if I saw something in the Calgary Herald that mentions Team Co, which is our awesome curling champions, they're mentioned in there, they're mentioned that they're part of the Glencoe club, I have no problems retweeting or tweeting that information because it's already being identified in a public forum that obviously the team is okay with, otherwise they probably wouldn't have given the interview to the newspaper to begin with. So that kind of stuff I don't mind sending out. But if somebody just wins team champion here, I'm not going to go onto Facebook and be like, hey, congratulations to so-and-so for winning the team champions, unless I had already got permission from them to do so. Hey, congratulations, great game. Do you mind if I post your win on social media? Let people know. Some people be like, yeah, go ahead, I don't care. Other people are like, no, I don't want that. Especially older people. They're a little bit more wary of the social media. They're not like me. I'm hard not to find. I recently got back into the dating scene and I keep getting girls telling me, I Googled you. I'm like, I'm an open book. What can I say? You want to find out about me? You've got Google. Okay, am I good enough to go for a date now? Awesome, let's go. So, good sides, bad sides, it all weighs out. Good thing I know how to manipulate search results. Okay. It's a better thing that I'm not just an ass. Don't be an ass and you won't end up in Google as being an ass. That's all I can say about that. So, social media is really preferred by the 35 and under group. Where I'm on the cusp now. I just turned 35, but I'm going to be on my little mobile whatever I've got for the next 10 years anyway. So, but when it comes to the to the groups, 35 and under really, really love social media kind of stuff. They prefer social media in many cases over email. And one of the beautiful things about social media is it's mostly mobile ready. Why? Because it was grown up in an area where mobile was king. And we saw the zombies at the beginning. You just wait at Twitter and Facebook. So you get a really better experience when doing it. Plus, they're going to get those notifications as well. So similar to email, you'll get that notification pop up. It's in your hand. You're going to get it to the quick. And anybody under the 35 age group is most likely going to get the message. Where the higher age group, most likely going to get the emails or visit the website. So you're really hitting home with all of it. Not only that, but you've got a crap load of networks to choose from. Like a crap load, like giant crap load. If you search Google for current social networks and the charts that you can see, unbelievable, ones that I've never even heard of. So we're using Facebook and Twitter here. Like I said, there's so many out there that you can choose from. So don't necessarily think that you're stuck in one or another. Find out what works best for your audience. For instance, Instagram. If you're doing a lot of stuff that pictures will work good for, Instagram could be a great solution. Same with Pinterest. If you're sharing out a lot of information and people like sharing that information, Pinterest is awesome for that. We haven't really found a great way to use that here, but when I came in, we already had Facebook and Twitter. When it came to Twitter, I completely overhauled our Twitter experience because when I started, there was 9 Twitter accounts here. Wow. With a total of like 300 followers between everyone. So narrowing that down to a single account to focus on getting the message out to as many people as possible really, really helped out with that. So don't worry if something's not working for you, drop it. Again, there's so many social networks out there that it's hard to pick and choose, but you can pick and choose based on what is best for your members. Find out what they want. If you have a Facebook page but nobody's on it, it doesn't help anybody, right? So find the ones that are popular and most likely to stay around, and then worry about the other ones later if so need be. Don't pick the one that 4 people are currently using. Hey, we signed up for this great new social network. Nobody's using it. So got to be careful. And you also have to be careful of buyouts because anything that turns out to be really awesome usually ends up getting bought out by somebody else. I can't tell you all the awesome things that I loved that got bought out by Google and then turned into nothing. I was so sad. So social also helps you get your messages out via social sharing. Now again, we've got the whole privacy issue around a lot of our content. So when I keep my messages generic, if they share that information, I'm not breaking any privacy concerns or causing any additional privacy issues. But for something like the flood, oh my God, social media was awesome. How awesome was it? Let's take a look at the stats for our Facebook page over the week of the flood. I wish we didn't have Twitter stats back then because we got a lot of really good feedback on Twitter as well. So the top graph here is the number of people that liked our page. So over that week, we got 135 new fans and we lost 2. That's a big spike. Down in the bottom, these are impressions of how many people are seeing the content. This first line is 1,000 people. Well, we have 400 people that like our Facebook page. So for us to get 52,000 views for a piece of content is huge. And that was all because of the social sharing. But I wasn't just sharing, oh, the club got flooded, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we did include some of that messaging, but we also included other stuff. So here's a couple of just brief examples. On the right-hand side, this was a message to let community members and other people in the city know where they could find more information about closures from the city. Plus, it included the hashtag for YYC flood. So if you wanted to find out more about what was trending with that information, you can just click on that hashtag, and on both Facebook and Twitter, you're just going to get a steady stream of content. Unfortunately, during the flood, well, wasn't so unfortunate for me at the time, but I was in San Francisco. So everybody's up here all flooded. I'm doing social media from a conference in San Francisco. So social's great because you can do it from anywhere, even when you're not part of the emergency at hand. You can still get those messages out. On my mobile phone, not paying attention to the presenter. It was great. Another one here we've got, again, mentioning the flood, just telling people what happened with the club. It said we had a little bit of flooding, whatnot. And then down here, this is, we're promoting an upcoming event. Calgary Stampede, rodeo tickets on sale. Who doesn't have rodeo tickets? We still got some left. Did I just push that out again? Yes. See, getting your message out. You gotta get it out. But you don't always have to be so, straightforward and blah. It's social media. It's a little bit more of a conversation, so you can be a little bit more lighthearted at times. For instance, on the right-hand side here, it was a cold day. I said, hey, what did I say here? It's kind of chilly today. Perhaps you should come to the fitness center and work on your abs. So I included some snowmen working on their abs. Man, if it were that easy. God damn, I'm working on my keg here. Whew. All right, on the left, the Flames stopped by. They were doing a team building exercise in curling. So after they had left, I posted this picture. Now, I posted it after they left for a couple of reasons. One, didn't want members rushing down there going, oh, the Flames are here, can I have your autograph? And bothering them while they're trying to do their team exercise. And we didn't want people from the outside just showing up, oh, the Flames are at the Glencoe Club, let's go see, and hanging on the outside, waiting for autographs and stuff. So it kind of shows some of the cool things that we do around the club without, kind of invading anybody's privacy or causing any issues. So people love the pictures, they love the Flames. Well, depending on how they're doing, I guess, they love the Flames. So a couple of examples on Facebook on different things that we can do. The big thing to remember about Facebook these days, though, you're not reaching the majority of your fans anymore. And that's a big change and a big bone of contention among a lot of people, because if you have 1,000 people that like your page, somebody did a study and you're reaching on average 7% of your viewership now. You notice these big boost post buttons? Yeah, they want you to pay them to reach your audience. So this really pissed off a lot of people because they spent a lot of time building followers on Facebook and then all of a sudden they can't reach them. So I'm still kind of deciding what to do with Facebook. We still do get a lot of interaction on Facebook, but since they made that change to their algorithm, I have seen that our stats are going down, not up. So we're reaching less people with our messages, but again, we're doing pretty simplistic messages, so we're gonna keep it around for a while and see what other things that we can do. Moving on to Twitter, we do kind of the same thing. Here's another couple of examples from the flood. So on the right-hand side, this was again more for the community and everything else, telling people to follow the city of Calgary for up-to-the-minute information, because they were sending out updates every couple of minutes about the evacuations at the time, because every couple of minutes, a new area, okay, we got to evacuate that area. So this is a really good way to keep up to date, because it was just steady stream. Same with the Calgary police. They had a really good stream of telling people where to go and to get help and where to avoid. It was absolutely wonderful. Like I said, I was in California, but I knew everything that was going on in Calgary. And it was thanks to being on Twitter and Facebook pretty much all the time. The left-hand side was just a little notice that our parking lot will remain closed until it got cleaned. Obviously, we had, 4 inches of mud in the lower parkade? That's what it looked like. So not only do you get the message out, but you really get the message out when you start adding pictures, because without that picture on there, the impact is really just lost. So it's awesome when you're scrolling through your feed and you see a really impactful image. You're more likely going to stop at those than you will with just text-based things. But when it came to just the flood messaging, I didn't want to, especially during the evacuation times, I really didn't want to distract from the message. So we didn't include a whole lot of images in those early days. Don't distract people from where they don't need to be. In the same vein as Facebook, though, you can still have a little bit of fun. So during Halloween, I had some interesting facts. This one I found amazing, that the first mention of trick-or-treating in print in North America occurred in Blackie, Alberta, 1927. All the places in North America, Blackie, Alberta, we mentioned trick-or-treating. Yeah, go Alberta. Except for all the non-Alberta people here, right? Damn. Oh, so, and the bottom one was somebody had posted renderings and final buildings. So the initial sketches that the artist renditions of these new buildings, and then the final building and what it looked like. And it was just a cool thing. So it's cool information for people, your members, because they live in this city. They may not have seen this, but it's still kind of cool. And you can have a lot more fun with it. So again, it's more social, so be a little more fun with it. You want to have some real fun, and you're on Twitter, get yourself Vine. Who hasn't heard of Vine? Vine is the 6-second looping videos. Twitter bought them out pretty early because they were just awesome. So it ties into Twitter really easily. I post a Vine every once in a while. You may recognize this gentleman here. This is Ken Clark from our fitness center. This was at Christmas time. He had his awesome little light up shirt, and unfortunately you can't hear it, but he jingles. Dingle, dingle, dingle. He was wearing jingle bells. So that was one of our social posts for the day. was Ken showing off his awesome Christmas sweater and Christmas bells. Like, this is the kind of fun, I think. Yeah, we got at least one break. So yeah, it's a 6-second looping video. So it's just going to continue looping over and over. If you don't have Vine and you don't want to waste time, don't get Vine. Because you go on there and there is just some seriously hilarious stuff going through Vine, and it's just 6 seconds looping crap that will waste your entire day. Holy crap, did I just waste 4 hours on Vine? Yeah, it's possible. So again, yeah, keep it light and friendly if you can. Yeah, totally. I told them about this too, and he's like, oh God, they all know me. I'm like, yes. Perfect. Well, I wanted something interesting on there. So again, with our social media, we're sending out the emergency club notices. Very effective way to get it out. We got a lot of really good feedback from members and the community about the messages that we were sending out during the flood. And we received comment cards all the time. A couple weeks ago when we had that power pole issue, we got a couple more messages thanking, I was about to leave and I got the message that the club was closed on Twitter. Awesome, that's great. So it really does help people if we can stop them from traveling from where they are to come down if something's closed. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go check out the hot tub. Well, hot tub's closed for the day. Oh, wow. Good to know before you get down here. Again, we got the upcoming events and deadlines. I thought I took this slide out. Apparently I didn't. So, results of sporting events, different highlights of sporting events, any kind of results, again, depending on the privacy concerns that your club might have versus ours. If they're already out there and they don't mind having it out, you have permission waivers saying that yes, you can tweet out results using their names and whatnot, then it's all good. Like I said, younger generation usually has no problem with this kind of stuff. It's usually the older generations that'll have, don't put me out on the internet. Me, I'm trying to get off the internet. I can't do it. I can't. Some people like crack. I like technology. Oh, love it so much. All right. Interesting local history or points of interest. I've lived in Calgary since 1997, and there are tons of things that I still haven't done in the city. I think I've been to the Calgary Tower once since I actually moved here. When I grew up, my grandpa took me all the time when I come out. Like, that was one of our stops. Every time I come out, we go to the Calgary Tower. Nowadays, I went a bunch when I was a kid. But I should probably go. It's a cool place. So another good thing to send out, again, we're keeping it light rather than just nothing but status updates to people. It's a lot better way to communicate. Like I said, I'm not really following best practices for social media, specifically because of all the privacy concerns, because technically we should be thinking of social media as a conversation. Think of Twitter as a giant party, a networking party. You wouldn't go in and just start running around, handing out your cards going, this is me, come buy my stuff, come buy my stuff, come buy my stuff. So if you're not going to do that in person with people, don't do it on social media either. So that's why I try and include, some fun little things for people to check out, because it kind of intersperses all the blah, blah, blah. Hey, this is happening, this is happening. Hey, the guy with a cute sweater, awesome. So keep it light, makes it a little bit nicer. One of my favorite new things to play with, digital signage. Now, digital displays have been around for quite a few years. Recently though, just like social, they've been really increasing in popularity. You can have a dance party in here. I like your ringtones. All right. So it's an old medium, growing quickly. Anybody think of, off the top of their head, one of the oldest, most recognizable digital displays? Go to the airport. Arrivals, departures. One of the oldest, most recognizable versions of a digital signage. Tells you when the plane leaves, tells you when it arrives. Very important, very straightforward. Beautiful thing about digital signage today is you can include pretty much anything. It's a lot like a website. You can include images, you can include pictures. Images and pictures are the same thing. So you can include text and images, you can include video. You can even embed websites directly in there if you want. Technology has come so far in such a short period of time that it's amazing what you can do. Content with digital displays can be managed easily from anywhere in the world if you're using a cloud-based platform. Now, the one that you see around the club that we're using here is called Rise Vision. I implemented it last year. It's built on Google platform, so all you need to sign up for their account is a Google account. Boom, you're in. I could sit on the beach in Hawaii and change the content on my screens. Of course, if you're on a beach in Hawaii, please don't be doing work. You're on the beach in Hawaii. So unless you're working in Hawaii and that's your job is to be on the beach, chill out, relax. So easy to schedule content, easy to work with. And one of my favorite new things is there's now some very cost-effective solutions for low motion content. What do I mean by that?
Ta-da.
A menu board. Very simple, right? Sorry, Chris, you'll have to see it later. You've seen it on my desk for months. So this here is just a daily specials that we're looking at implementing in the cafe. Just shows what's going on for the day. This is being powered by a Google spreadsheet. There's 7 different sheets in there, Monday through Sunday, and this automatically changes every morning at 5 o'clock. So Ken can just go into the spreadsheet, enter the information on what's happening for the next week, and it'll automatically change every morning and display the new specials. If he runs out of something, he can log in from an iPad, an iPhone, any computer, and be like, crap, we're out of this, let's change it. Within 10 seconds, it will be updated on this screen.
Can you hit that in a scrolling platform too? So like every 10, 15 seconds?
You could, yeah. This one's very simple. We currently have it just on an 8.5 by 11 sheet, but this just works out a little bit better. And what makes this so cost effective is if you look at digital signage hardware, you're looking at essentially a computer. And most of them are going to cost you $500 to $1,000. The ones that we just got out at the golf club and we're replacing here, it's called the Intel Nuke. It's a computer about this big, about that thick, but it runs about $500 for a base model. This right here, if you have not heard about the Raspberry Pi, this is a $35 computer. All you get is the board. You have to buy your own cases, cables, and everything else with it. And with a couple of hours of setup, you can have this. So it's perfect for low motion content, and we're not spending $600 for a display just to power a menu board. But this is better than what we're currently using because we're currently using a whiteboard that somebody has to go out and fill out every day. It's backlit, so it doesn't matter if there's little lighting or great lighting, it's still gonna be easier for people to read. Backlit, it's beautiful. And we're not having to, 1, do the whiteboard every morning. 2, every morning somebody in my department has to print out this same information and print out, I think we print 8 copies that get placed in different places around the cafe. So we're reducing the overall workload for at least 2 people. They don't have to update the boards. We're making it easier to view, and we're making it easier on Ken to fill out. It's a bonus win all the way around.
Do all those screens have to be cable, or can they be wireless?
It can be wireless. I don't have the wireless setup on here yet, and I wasn't sure exactly what the wireless signal in here was like, so I decided to go just Ethernet for now. But if you've got cable running, I always recommend a hardwired connection over wireless, just because there's so much wireless everything, the chance of interference and it dropping its signal is a lot higher if you're using wireless over Ethernet. That, and I wouldn't be using a 15-foot HDMI cable. It's just the one I had down in my office. So it's like, hey, usually you use a little, 3-foot one and just stick it right on the back of the display. You're set.
What is that little thing called again?
The computer is a Raspberry Pi. Pi.
And then you said that Rise Vision is the name of the company it is?
Rise Vision. R-I-S-E, Vision. And they're actually a Canadian company out of Toronto too. And their platform is mostly free. They do have some premium gadgets, like if you wanted like a stock ticker, well, stock companies charge a lot of money to pull that information from their servers, so obviously they charge for stuff like that. But there's different parts of their system that they're not currently charging for that they will in the future, but they're also greatly enhancing their store in that if I build my own little widget, I can go and sell it or give it away for free on there. So they're really opening it up as an open source platform where anybody can do it. So if you have a good programmer on staff, what you can do with the digital signage platform is amazing. Now, if you want like motion and some really cool stuff, you want to do video, Raspberry Pi is not the solution for that. But for something like menu board or just like a weather display or just text information being displayed, why spend $500 when you can spend this, right? There's actually a couple different places that you can get hardware like that these days. So if you'd like to know more about the Raspberry Pi, feel free. I love talking about it. Big geek that way. So if we take a look at our displays, on the right-hand side, this is the new design that I'm working on for golf. They actually haven't seen this yet, so you guys get to see it before they do. Woo woo, you can tell them that tomorrow when you're out golfing. Yeah, I saw your display. Please don't. They'll be like, how come you're showing that? So this is kind of what I'm working on. So just nice, simple. We got a Twitter feed on the left. We got the weather, not only today, but the forecast, time, because it's very important to know when your tea time is when you're sitting at the bar. Oh, geez, gotta go and get our tea time. And on the right-hand side, we've just got some rotating posters. Now, the rotating posters, both here and at golf, are a little bit of a bone of contention to me, just because we try and pack too much information into them. So part of what we're trying to do with some of the redesign that we're going to do with the digital displays is figure out how to better portray the content to our members.